Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Henry back with another video talking about translations and mainly talking about the language in Tarkov, both written and spoken. We're a channel where we break down a lot of the language that you see, a lot of the Scav voice lines. That's what we're primarily going to be focusing on today. But while we're doing the video, please go ahead and get yourself a notepad or take some notes, because I also hope that you can take something out from this video. Maybe a little bit of Russian alphabet, possibly. I'm not expecting you to become fluent or anything, but thank you for tuning in. Stick around. Enjoy the show. Very common phrase in Tarkov. Von on suka. 3 words that mean there he is, bitch. And this immediately tells you that the Scav sees you, right? A lot of the voice lines that you hear just randomly blurted out without you having engaged a Scav generally means that it's been activated and knows of your presence. Doesn't necessarily always mean that it's going to engage right away, but don't be surprised if it does. All right, so we're going to follow up here with writing down what von Onsuka looks like. The V sound in Russian is the B, right? The O, it remains the same. It's going to be a short O most of the time, like the O in English. The N is an H. So if we wanted to write that down phonetically of how us English speakers see it, it's going to be like this, von. Now, then we have the second word, on, which is he, right? We know that from the O and the N remaining the same from the first word. Really a very basic sentence. You can actually say that if you see a gentleman, right? Von on, there he is. Von ana, right? There she is. We'll get deeper into that later on. Now, the most infamous of words is going to be the word suka. Nice. All right, so as we can see here, you'll see this all over Tarkov, graffitied on the walls, and we'll go through some episodes and actually review some of this material. So the S sound in the Russian alphabet is the C, but we can just go ahead and write down an S for our own reference. The short U sound, or oo, like soup, right, in the English language is going to be the Y. Anytime you see a Y in Russian, it's going to be oo. The K remains the same, still remains that K, and the A also remains the same, remaining as A. Let's go ahead and review that. Von on suka. So if you ever see that, right, take those out. Von on suka. You can read there he is, bitch. And if you hear it, you can decipher what's coming at you. And here he's using one of the voice lines, valit huisosa, which means fuck up that cocksucker, or get that cocksucker in essence. And yeah, let's go ahead and break those words down, and you'll recognize some of the letters from the previous example from von on suka, and just a little bit of extra context. So if you can say this through VoIP and accurately say it with fairly good fluency, I bet you a Snickers bar. You would definitely raise your chances of tricking the enemy into thinking that you're a Scav. Reload a couple times and just say valit huisosa, right? And just try to say it in that cadence, and you'll trick them. All right, so here we go. The V again is going to be repeating here, so we're going to use that big B in the Russian, so that's going to be a V. A is going to remain the same, L is going to remain the same, and the infamous backwards N. You see that? That is the E sound. All right, just to make sure we're keeping track. Vali huisosa. The H sound in Russian is going to be the X, right? Let's keep that in mind, though, because it does appear a lot, especially whenever using the word hui, which we'll go over in just a second. You'll probably recognize this U from the previous example we just did, and the backwards N again, which is the E sound, but with a little hat over it, it actually becomes a Y. So it becomes our Y, right? I know it can get a little confusing, but stick with me here. So we got the X as an H, the Y as an U, and the backwards N with a hat on it is Y. That together is cock or dick, right? Hui. So to continue that, we're going to go to the S, the O, another S, and an A. If you recall, the S in Russian is our C. So let's go ahead and make that phonetic and easier to read. So remember, this is the Russian side, right? And this is the English phonetic part. So right here we have Hui Sosa, cock sucker. What we see here is an iteration of what we heard in the beginning of the video, which was von on suka. Here is von on blядь. And instead of saying there he is bitch, he's basically saying there he is fuck. An expletive is used here, and blядь is a filler word similar to how we put fuck, fucking in many of our sentences in English, especially if you're of the lower class, as you know, myself. You use fucking basically every fucking sentence, you know what I mean? So now let's break that down. We can recall von on is written with the V, the O, the N, right? And again, von on, there he is. Now, blядь. The B is gonna look kind of like a weird 6, right? And this is the lowercase. We're not gonna get too crazy. So if you've ever actually written the ampersand, this is not gonna be too weird for you. So all you do is just kind of loop around as if you wanted to do like Q, if you will, and then just wrap that around, and then you're basically doing a 6 backwards. Cool. So let's continue. Then we're going to just have a L, right? We're going to have a backwards R. And bear with me. This in Russian actually has some weight to it. It means not only something within a word, right? So it can act, it's a letter, right? And it's also a word, just as the word in English, I. So this actually, ya is I. And then here we can add it to, to form words essentially. So here we go. And then here there's a controversy and many different ways. There's many different ways to spell this. But the one that I prefer is the one that's like most formally met in books. There's other versions of it, and we'll go over that in future videos. So we're going to write a D, which is a G, right? You liking it? I know. And then a little tiny B. And we will see this a lot in the Russian language, and it's the equivalent to what you would say, oh, the L is silent or the K is silent in letters, right? So here we go again. We got the B. This is the English version. We got the L. We got the ya, right? That is one letter, and that's how it's pronounced. And we have the D, and it's going to be almost, and I'm really going to emphasize the word molecular sounding. You're barely going to say the Z at the end, blядь, right? And some people even say that I don't say it correctly, but it's very nuanced. You say it so lightly. It's actually called the soft sign, this little mini B. Hey, well, thank you for watching. This is a very short video. It's been my first video of last year. Actually, I came back after some health problems. Now I'm fully ready to come back to making videos again for you guys. Help you understand more of what's going on in Tarkov in the Russian sense, and we'll get into other languages. Just stick around. This is going to be a language learning channel, but through video games, something that I've been really dreaming to do since my leave, essentially 3 years ago. Thank you very much for sticking around if you came back to watch again, and stay tuned for more videos. Cheers.